storytelling besties. I'm Tasha. I usually sit down and talk about true crimes that literally WTF me. But I also cover like other stories too that literally WTF me. And this is one of them. Okay, now listen, y'all. Listen. If you love to camp, if you're a camper and you love the nature and it's your thing, don't watch this video. I would keep scrolling because I'm about to ruin camping for all of y'all. Because listen, once I heard this story, you guys, I'm never going camping again. Nope. I don't give a what anyone says. I'm not going after this story. So a young girl named Katie and her dad went camping in Mount Range, Sierra Nevada. Katie loved going camping with her father because he was like this totally accomplished outdoorsman, and he used to be like a wilderness guide for like most of his life. So, just very outdoors types guy. When they arrived to the campground though, like the parking lot was extremely packed. So they were like, crap, we should have called like 2 weeks ago because they look like they're full. I doubt we're going to be able to get a spot. But they stopped at the front desk, and the front desk was like, you're in luck. We have one for you. But it's way over there. Like, way over there, okay? It was this one campsite that was kind of like isolated from like the rest of the campground. And whenever they came camping here, it was like the one campsite that they never wanted to camp at because of how isolated it was. But, beggars can't be choosers, so they were just happy to even have a spot. They each had like these very small backpacking tents, which were so small that you could either zip up and stay warmer and more protected, but you'd have to sleep like in a ball, okay? Or you could unzip the front of your tent, and when you lay down, you could extend your legs fully. If y'all were comfortable with your feet hanging out into the wilderness, no thanks. No thanks. Why were they being weird? Why not be normal and just get a two-man tent? Like, why? Yo, I don't even like my feet hanging off my own bed. Okay, I don't know what's under there. I'm 35 years old, okay? I'm still afraid to hang my feet off the bed. No, thank you. After they set up their tents, though, and put, like, all their stuff how they wanted it, they went hiking for the rest of the day. And when they got back, they were, like, so exhausted, so they just went to sleep. And about 3 a.m., Katie wakes up because she hears some footsteps walking towards the campsite from a little ways away. And she's like, okay, it's got to be my father. He probably just went to the bathroom and is now on his way back. And she realizes the bathhouse is over there and not over there. And, like, there was no illumination out, so you can't even pick up a silhouette. It's just that dark out there. And she can't see who's out there. She could only hear them. But she's thinking, okay, maybe my dad got lost when coming back or going, and he just went further, and now he's just making his way back. And she's going through all these scenarios in her head, like trying to convince herself that it's her dad. And she hears the footsteps again, but instead of walking around her tent to her father's tent, this person walks right up against her tent very quickly, and they are clearly begin to lean over her little tiny tent, and because she could hear them breathing right above her. No thank you. No. And she's having this like terrible revelation that some stranger is outside of her tent right now. Like, you know, and then she has an even worse revelation, you guys. It was a warm night that night, so she's sleeping with her tent unzipped, and her legs are poking out of the end of it, meaning her feet are out in the wilderness right now with a strange man. Oh my God. But for, like, so she musters up the courage to kind of like start pulling her legs back. But before she's able to do that, this person like stands up, turns, and starts walking towards the base of her tent. But this person doesn't stop at her feet. They keep moving, and in fact, they start circling her tent, y'all. Circling her tent. But because they were making a lot of noise and walking around, it allowed her to put her legs back into her tent without, you know, this person hearing her. And so she had this illusion of safety being inside her tent, but her tent is still unzipped. So she's waiting for this person to come around and crouch down and look inside her tent. So she's sitting there thinking, like, please don't come. Please don't come. Like, just leave. Like, no thank you. Even though her feet are pulled up into her tent, she suddenly feels something pinch her foot. Pinch her. And she's like stifles up a scream, you know, like, ah, but she's quiet about it. I wouldn't be. She starts shaking like uncontrollably. And her instincts are telling her, like, don't let this person know you're awake. Like, luckily, as she's sitting there shaking from fear and trying to be quiet as best she can, she's holding her mouth. This person stands up again and goes back to the spot next to her tent and leans over the tent once again. And she has nothing she can do, and she just sits there quietly, hoping it's going to end soon. And eventually this person would turn around and walk over to the cooler and their table and some other things that were out. She hears like him rummaging around things and stuff like that, and then he finally walks off, okay? And so she's just laying there, like, doesn't dare to get out, you know? So she's just laying there. She finally falls asleep. And then she wakes up again, and she hears her father unzipping his tent. And so she goes out, and he's like, hey, were you outside at 2 or 3 in the morning? And she starts telling him, no, this is what happened to me. And she's describing what's happened to her. He looks behind her at the picnic table, which was next to the cooler, and their backpacks were on it. Basically anything that didn't fit in their tents, they had kept near the table. He points, and she turns around, and any item that was in the cooler or in the backpacks or was out has been stacked in a pyramid formation on the table. Clearly the guy who was outside last night, like, stacked a pyramid of all their stuff. Like, what the fuck? WTF, guys. As I go over to look at it to see if, like, anything has been taken or whatever, they see, like, these footprints that have been going around Katie's tent. So she clearly wasn't imagining it, you know? And the footprints were freaking huge, y'all. Huge. So they quickly packed up and they got out of there. And they barely talk about it with each other because it's all the things that could have happened. Her father felt guilty because he was clearly, like, heard this person, but he didn't do anything, and his daughter was in danger, and he just has a lot of guilt, you know? It was very traumatizing for them, and they just don't talk about it or bring it up. But I'm good. I'm not going camping ever again. After that story, y'all, if someone grabbed my foot, yeah, I would. Oh, what would you do? I want to know in the comments. What would you have done in that situation right there? I want to know, because I don't know. I can't say what I would have done. I probably would have lost it. But anyways, that's the story. I hope I didn't ruin camping for y'all, but I did give you the warning. So if you didn't listen to me, you should have. So my husband tells me all the time. But anyways, subscribe for more. Have a good night, guys.